Arsenal are ignoring Mikel Arteta. And look, Mikel Arteta isn't going to escape blame in this video because there's some things that he's done and said and ways that he's performed that I think we do need to take a look at. We've got 8 days until the next Arsenal game, so it does give us a bit of time to just speak about what's happening at Arsenal. And I've got some things I want to speak about in this video that I think we can have some interesting discussions on. I definitely want to get people's opinions on them. Before we get into it though, I want to ask you one quick favour. If you could, please just hit like on this video. And I never say this, but I'm approaching 7,000 subscribers, which is crazy. So please help me on my way and just click that subscribe button. So I'm going to get straight into the video because, look, Arteta has said countless times that Arsenal needed help in this transfer window. And I'm just trying to understand why Arsenal have ignored his calls for more players. Like, if you remember back to the beginning of the season, Mikel Arteta actually come out and said, we've got one of the thinnest squads in the league. So it's not only Arteta unhappy with the squad as it is. Like, the beginning of the season, Arteta thought the squad was thin. We saw so many players shipped out. And he come out and made the comment that Arsenal have one of the thinnest squads in the league. So when you add that with all the injuries, and there's been countless injuries this season, you think of the backline, Calafiori, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White. You've had problems in the midfield. You've had Odegaard out, and now you've got Saka out. You've got Gabriel Jesus out. You've got Martinelli out. How are Arsenal meant to operate at their best level when we've got this level of injuries? Now, Arsenal, look, they did fail in the summer. We kind of saw it because towards the end of the summer transfer window, we were scratching around for a forward. So many people could see at that point that Arsenal needed a forward. Arteta knew that Arsenal needed a forward, and their answer was Raheem Sterling. It wasn't good enough. It hasn't worked out, and now he's one of the only free winger options that we've got available to choose from. We've got Trossard, who so many people think isn't performing at his best level. You only have to look at his numbers to come to that conclusion that he's probably not performing as well as he could do. You've got Raheem Sterling, who, like we've said, his numbers are poor. He's not going to be the difference maker who's going to send Arsenal to go and win the title. He hasn't been that player for about 3 seasons. And then you've got 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, who is the guy now that many Arsenal people or fans are pinning their hopes on. We're pinning our hopes on a 17-year-old to be able to drag us through games. It's not good enough for where Arsenal want to be and they see themselves going. Arteta calling for help and I don't know if it's the board ignoring him. The only thing, if I'm looking at it balanced in a balanced way, the only thing I can think of is if the board's saying, right, we understand you need more players. You're telling us you need more players, but you also told us you need Calafiori. You also told us you need Mikel Merino, and Calafiori can't even get in the squad ahead of an 18-year-old left-back who's never played left-back in his entire career. So you've spent 30 or 40 million on Calafiori, and he's not even starting big games ahead of an 18-year-old who's never played in that position. So there's one. Mikel Merino, again, you're not starting him in the massive games. And when he has come on the pitch, so many people are saying he's probably not the answer to Arsenal's problem. So you've bought 2 players for about 70 or 80 million and they can't even get in the squad. So you telling us you need a forward, we understand, but we will wait until we see the perfect option. We're not just going to go out there and add an extra body because we've done that with Sterling and it's not good enough. We've done that with Calafiori and Merino and you're not using them players. That's the only way I can think that the board have maybe said to Mikel Arteta, right, you need a forward. Because, of course, we saw the links with Ollie Watkins towards the end of the transfer window. Now, if you're bringing in a player like Ollie Watkins, you would hope to get that wrapped up early. Like, why are you leaving that till the last minute to try and sneak an offer in just when John Duran seems destined to go to Saudi Arabia? That deal looks like it's basically completed. And then you put in I don't know, the rumoured number is 40 million bidding for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins. You're not going to get him for that figure anyway. Why have you stuck that in? Is it Arsenal knowing they're not going to get the player and they just want it to seem like they're bringing in a player? Because, like I said, I find it hard to believe that Mikel Arteta had the chance to bring in a player and he said, nah, you're all right. I'll just leave it till the summer. Once he said at the beginning of the window, we're already short. Now we're definitely short because we didn't bring in a forward in this window and we've got other injuries. We've got Gabriel Jesus out. We've got Saka out. And then we see 2 days later, Martinelli limp off the pitch against Newcastle. It's crazy to me. Let me know your thoughts on it because I think the board are ignoring Arteta. Like, is it a lack of ambition? People can say this board lacks ambition. And I find that hard to believe, if I'm being honest, because over the past few seasons, it's not like the board's been reluctant to spend money. Like, we've had windows where it's approaching 200 and we've gone over 200 million. So the board seems like they will spend the money. But what has changed in this window? Surely it's not like we're close to FFP, because there's reports out there that Arsenal are actually one of the safest clubs when it comes to FFP. Now, it depends what kind of report you read, because some people say Arsenal are treading the line carefully, and you read other reports saying that Arsenal are the safest in the league when it comes to FFP. I don't know what to believe. I guess that's the only two feasible options. The board saying you've brought in players that aren't good enough and we're too close to FFP. That's the only reason I can see as a valid one as to why Arsenal haven't spent in this window. I can't see Arteta saying no when he's called for help. Let me know your thoughts on it, though. Look, in terms of the defeat against Newcastle, it's not good enough. And this is where we do need to look at Mikel Arteta, because look, you can say in the league the past couple of seasons he's been very, very good. But why is that not translating into the cup runs? We've seen for the past few seasons, Arteta seems to struggle in cup football. Is it the fact that it's just so different? Is it negligence? Is it the tactics he deploys? Does he need to try and think of a different way to play? Like, his cup runs aren't great. And people can always throw back at you, yeah, but he won the FA Cup in his first season. But that wasn't with his squad. And I don't like to beat Arteta with that, because I think that's even more impressive. If you've won the FA Cup with a team that's not your team, then I still think you deserve credit for that as well. So I do give Arteta some credit for winning that FA Cup, even though some people don't like to. But since then, we do seem to struggle. We saw it last season in the Champions League. And I guess that one's kind of understandable, because it's like, Arsenal's first proper season again in the Champions League. So you're playing teams against Porto and you scrape through, and then you play Bayern Munich and you get knocked out. Bayern Munich's a good team. That can happen to anyone. But you do need to look at Arteta's cup runs. And there will come a point in time where you need to look at it and say, right, You've had a good few seasons to have a go at this cup malarkey, and you haven't really stood out in any of the competitions. You seem to get so close, and then you come up a team against a team that you think, right, this should be winnable, and then you get beat. Like, Newcastle's a decent team. It seems to be like our bogey team. Arteta, for some reason, and this Arsenal team seem to struggle against Newcastle. But I don't know, it's depressing to just say we'll have to wait and see what happens next season. Even though we've still got competitions to win this season, we've still got the Premier League, we've still got the Champions League, and of course those are the big ones. So if you go on to win one of those, then it doesn't matter what happens in the Carabao Cup against Newcastle. It doesn't matter what happened in the FA Cup against Manchester United, because you can just say, well, we won the better competition anyway. So of course I hope Arsenal can go on to win in those competitions, but the way that our squad's looking, it's looking very difficult to go and do that. We still need to catch Liverpool, and we're having all these injury problems. Now, there has been a slight boost because we saw the players leaving to get on the plane to go to Dubai, and there were some additions in that squad that I don't know, I got excited about. You saw Ben White getting on that plane. You saw Bukayo Saka getting on the plane, and you saw Gabriel Martinelli. Now, if the Gabriel Martinelli the injury was as bad as a lot of us had feared, you coming off holding your hamstring, you would probably think you're going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks. He was walking onto the plane, didn't seem like he had any assistance from the pictures that I've seen. So that is a boost. I hope, look, I don't know how bad the Martinelli injury is. I would be surprised if he's come off the pitch and there's no injury there at all. I'm hoping that's what happened. I'll take it. Because we do need Martinelli. And again, that is a performer who's not performed at the level he has been able to probably 2 seasons ago, but it's still another number in there who is good enough to do things in this Arsenal side. Saka, Arteta seems tight-lipped about when his arrival back into this team will be, but the fact that he's travelling to Dubai is a good sign. You know, you wouldn't have thought that it'd be too far away. If he's going with a team, is it just to relax and maybe be around the squad for some morale, or is he actually out there doing some work? I'm sure there's going to be pictures and videos released in the very near future, so I look forward to seeing them, to see what type of role a Saka, Ben White and Martinelli will play. Because for me, the Ben White one's massive. For me, it's no coincidence that Ben White comes out of this team and then Arsenal all of a sudden fall apart. And look, I enjoy Jurrien Timber's performances as much as so many other people. I think he's brilliant. But I just think Ben White is so underrated, and the things that Ben White does is so understated that, like I said, it's no coincidence to me that Ben White comes out of the team, then all of a sudden Arsenal look shaky. Like, don't forget the right-hand side. Arsenal's best ever right-hand side over the past few seasons features Ben White. The way that Ben White links up with Odegaard and Bukayo Saka on that right-hand side at times was mesmerising. We saw it last season. That right-hand side was deadly for Arsenal. Ben White comes out of the team and the impact isn't quite as strong on that right-hand side. Now, it's obviously worsened by the fact you're now missing Bukayo Saka as well. But I do think when Ben White comes back into this team, we're going to see a general lift of performances the full way across the pitch, midfield, defence and attack. Because I think Ben White does offer that. Don't forget the little things Ben White does when you're on them set pieces and he's roughing up the keeper and he's being a nuisance and he's having a bit of housery about him. That's the thing that so many of us love about Ben White. And when he's not in the team, I think you can see a dip in terms of the whole team's performances, because I do think he's that important. I don't know, let me know if you agree. Let me know what your thoughts are on this Arsenal team. Why was we not able to get past Newcastle? Why is it so difficult for Arteta to find wins in these cup runs? And let me know your thoughts on the transfer window. Why has Arsenal not signed a player? Is it the board just ignoring Arteta? Or do you think it's Arteta that doesn't want to sign a player? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, like I said, do me a quick favour. Just hit like and subscribe. And I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.